Tonight, our one-on-one interview with Blankenship, the man who ran one of the most successful coal companies in the country and later became a convict. Decades into his tenure as CEO of Massey Energy, Blankenship's and the lives of hundreds of West Virginians were turned upside down with the explosion at the Upper Big Branch mine in April 2010. The explosion killed 29 men. Blankenship stepped down from Massey later that year. 5 years later, Blankenship is charged and convicted for conspiring to violate federal mining safety standards. In April of last year, he was sentenced to the maximum penalty of 1 year in federal prison and a $250,000 fine. And less than 2 weeks ago, on May 10th, Blankenship was released from a halfway house. He immediately took to Twitter, calling out the media and Senator Joe Manchin and demanding truth for the Upper Big Branch mining disaster. He also wrote an open letter to President Trump about the 2010 explosion, outlining ways he believes would increase mining safety. Blankenship is living in the Las Vegas area right now, and that's where he spoke to me. Mr. Blankenship, you wrote a letter to President Trump, and within that letter you pressed on keeping coal miners safe and how that relates to the Upper Big Branch mine. Have you heard back from the president?
No, not yet, of course.
Are you expecting to?
I don't know that I'll hear from him directly. I'm more interested in his taking some action to get the truth out on UBB. Whether he gets back to me directly is not important.
Well, you said that you want to keep coal miners safer in that letter, and as someone who was convicted of conspiracy to violate mining safety standards, how do you expect the president to take you seriously?
That's the type of questions that the press likes to ask. It's unfortunate because the government's witnesses testified in court that the government cut the air in half. Forensics experts say that it was a natural gas explosion, and natural gas explosions continue to occur in that area. So if we're going to be mining a lot of metallurgical coal, we need to be concerned about the miners and not concerned about the rhetoric.
Well, the thing is, I thought that was a good question. Reason being is because the president looking at that on paper might look at it and say, well, this is someone who's run into issues in the past, and now he's wanting to keep coal miners safer. You don't agree with that?
Absolutely not. I think coal miners and people in the industry and people that have access to the president know that I was probably the most prolific innovator of mine safety in the history of Central Appalachia, and that we had a great safety program. And they shouldn't be. I mean, the facts are that the government witnesses themselves testified they cut the air in half, so shouldn't be any doubt that that they're telling the truth in federal court. So that doesn't appear in the UMSHA investigation reports, and certainly it should, because it's the most important thing to avoiding an explosion is ventilation.
Mr. Blankenship, you've been very vocal, especially on Twitter, since getting out of federal prison. You challenged Senator Manchin to a debate about UBB. What will it take to make sure that happens? Well,
it would just take his agreeing. I'm sure you guys would be more than excited about airing it statewide, and we can have some discussion that really matters about coal miner safety and other aspects of the industry if he would like.
You'd want that to be here in West Virginia?
I would very much encourage him to do it. Yes, I mean, the senator has, if you will, said that I have blood on my hands. He's not provided any evidence of that at all, and even in the last couple of weeks he said that I had, quote, caused the deaths of 29 miners. If he makes those kind of statements, you would think that he has the confidence that he knows what he's talking about and has support for that kind of a statement, which is totally contradictory to the trial that I was involved in and totally contradictory to the facts. So if he's going to make those kind of statements in West Virginia and on national television, he should be willing to back it up in a public debate.
Mr. Blankenship, do you plan on becoming politically active in 2018?
No, I don't think so. I've never been really politically active. I've been very active in trying to improve government and get them to tell the truth and get them to support jobs in West Virginia and to stop taxing food and so forth over the years.
So you wouldn't publicly back a candidate?
I might. I really haven't thought about that at this point. My focus is on making sure that coal miners don't experience another natural gas explosion, and I'm going to stay on that topic for a while. If I see other things that would be beneficial to West Virginia or coal miners, I might get engaged, so I can't say at this point whether I would or I would not.
Has anybody else reached out to you recently since getting out? Anybody notable?
Not really. You know, I've only been out, I guess, for about 7 days, and been quite busy and haven't been back in that area. You know, and I wouldn't disclose anyone that chose to contact me in support of this anyway.
And why is that?
Well, I think the main thing is to get it done. It's not to cause someone to be drawn into whatever politics or rhetoric might surround the issue. The main thing that needs to happen is we need to make sure that we don't let UBB happen again.
All right, let's move along here. What's next for you? I know that you've mentioned getting involved in real estate in Vegas, but do you ever see yourself returning to coal?
I don't close any doors. I mean, I don't know what I might do going forward, because I believe in letting the opportunities come to a person and then taking advantage of them rather than forcing yourself into one direction or another. So, you know, I'm totally open to what might come around. Of course, I'm pretty well satisfied with retirement as well.
Right, so you're not ruling that out?
No.
Okay, so when do you plan on returning to West Virginia? When will you return?
Well, I didn't say I was going to return, but I'll probably come back and visit as soon as I'm allowed to. Right now I'm still on probation, so there's some travel limitations until the probation officer reviews the paperwork and so forth. So I'll be back there probably sometime this summer for a visit, and I don't know exactly what I'll do going forward.
Well, today Blankenship returned to Twitter, calling out the author of an Associated Press article about him, and again calling out Senator Joe Manchin. A federal science committee study